no secret that New England cannot have the season that they had last year, but thankfully, thanks to free agency and the NFL draft, it doesn't look like they should, especially with Mike Vrabel adding several weapons on the offense and defense. But I think there's three guys that we really need to discuss on today's show from the 2025 NFL Draft that I think could actually make a big impact in their rookie season. Welcome to Patriots Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot. Let me go on ahead and ask you guys this. Who is your favorite Patriots pick in 2025? It could be Will Campbell all the way down to a guy like Joshua Farmer in round 4. You guys go on ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. And in case you need a little bit of a refresher, let's break it all down. Here are the Patriots selections. They drafted 11 guys between Thursday through Saturday. Will Campbell, TreVeyon Henderson, Kyle Williams, Jared Wilson, Craig Woodson in a surprising defensive move in round 4, Joshua Farmer, Braden Swinson, Andres Borregales, Marcus Bryan, Julian Ashby, which recently overtook the position of Joe Cardona, the longtime tenured Patriot for 10 years. They recently released him. And then Mr. Irrelevant, pick number 257, the last in the draft, Kobe Minor. Now, I think this was a solid draft class from the Patriots, but I do also think that in every draft class, outside of round 1, you always look to about the round 2 to 5 to really see what kind of rookies can really make a statement in their first year. And I want to give a disclosure, all right? I'm going to take Will Campbell out of this equation. Why? Because first-round draft picks are supposed to have a good rookie season. And typically, so are second-round picks as well. But I do think that we could go a couple rounds here with some sleepers intact and say, I could see them making a big splash. So clearly, I'll start with round 2. Pick number 38, TreVeyon Henderson. I was a little caught off guard by this because I always predicted that the Patriots would take a guy like Luther Burden with their second selection. And I knew we wanted to take a running back, but I thought that was just kind of like, you know what? Why not? Let's pick up a younger guy towards the back end. I wasn't expecting a huge name like Henderson in round 2, but now that I've gotten to sit on it, now that it's been almost a week, I really like this pick from the Patriots. I actually could see TreVeyon Henderson taking more work than Antonio Gibson in his first year of the NFL. And did you know that I recently found out here that the Patriots front office actually had a pretty big dispute on who to pick with number 38. The Patriots obviously took TreVeyon Henderson, but there were a couple front office executives that wanted to take inside offensive lineman Jonah Savainia, but thankfully that got settled because the Dolphins ended up selecting him just one pick prior to pick number 38, which is where the Patriots drafted TreVeyon Henderson. Now, I stand by what I said. I think TreVeyon Henderson can make an impact in his first year. I think Ramondre Stevenson will still carry most of the workload as the running back, but I could see TreVeyon Henderson being a very, very good running back, too, for the Patriots. So I'm going to bring in our producer here, Brett Alper, who is actually going to be taking over the Patriots Today channel by Chat Sports. So, Alper, I want to know your thoughts here on TreVeyon Henderson, but I also want to know your thoughts on the possibility of drafting a guy like Jonah Savainia. It's all good. Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
They happen.
This board, we got an old board. We got a board, but we figured it out. So, glad to be taking over Patriots Day. That's the first thing I want to say. Allie, I want to wish you the best of luck. The first thing, I did the video on the Patriots drafting Henderson. I was not happy. There's 2 positions that I'm not happy with drafting very early. One is running back, and the other is guard. We saw a couple years ago when they drafted Cole Strange, and it really hasn't benefited the Patriots that much. I'm a full-on guy that thinks with a running back, I know Henderson has a lot of talent. He's one of the best running backs in this draft, but is he really going to help this offense? I know you signed Diggs. You have your wide receivers, but I want to get as many weapons for Drake May as possible. And you got to establish the run game, but I'm still a full-on believer in Ramondre Stevenson.
And that's very fair. Ramondre Stevenson was a 1,000-yard rusher when we did actually have a competent offensive line.
Exactly.
I think last year was definitely an anomaly with him dropping the footballs. I think that he is going to be more established this year. I think he's going to be more disciplined this year with a guy like Mike Vrabel. But I'm going to have to disagree with you. I really do like TreVeyon Henderson for the Patriots, but it is interesting to notice what we could have picked up 2 offensive linemen in rounds 1 and round 2, and a guy like Jonah Sava-Inaya. I mean, overall, he's a fantastic pass blocker, which I think our offensive line is already very established in the run blocking game, and I think a pass blocker next to possibly a guy like Will Campbell, if you put Sava-Inaya as your left guard, would have done wonders for years to come. But the Dolphins ended up drafting him 1 pick ahead of the Patriots, so looks like that argument didn't need to go any further than pick number 37. That is how we ended up with a guy like TreVeyon Henderson. So I'll ask you guys this. The reason why we have Patriots Today by Chat Sports is because I talk, Alper talks, and then you guys talk as well. We talk about it. Happy with the TreVeyon Henderson draft pick. Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm going to go with Y. I think he is actually going to be a sneaky good pick for the Patriots, and I think he will be better than Ashton Jeanty his first year.
Look, I have watched film on him from now. I always convince myself the draft picks are going to be great. I've convinced myself that TreVeyon Henderson, you are going to get a Sonic and Knuckles type way. I think he's going to take Antonio Gibson's spot very, very, very quickly.
I see a Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery forming in New England. I'm very excited about that. But obviously we did have multiple draft picks here, so that's going to take me to my second favorite overall draft pick for the Patriots in this class, and that is going to be, surprise, surprise, the very next pick. Round 3, pick number 69, Kyle Williams. And I was kind of opposite of Brett Alper here. Kyle Williams was a guy that I was like, okay, I've seen him dominate in college, but I'm very nervous because the Patriots passed to reluctantly put my faith in a guy like Kyle Williams because there were still some good wide receivers on the board, and we, of course, have seen this before. But I have now come to the conclusion here that I think drafting Kyle Williams, Alper, is going to make up for missing Ladd McConkey last year. I know that we drafted up to take Jalen Polk, and we missed out on McConkey, but I think Williams can have the same kind of production in his rookie year that we saw from a guy like Ladd, and it's going to make up for the fumble that we had in 2024. What do you think about Kyle Williams?
I was big on Kyle Williams. I was wondering why, because I think it was Phil Simms had him as the number 2 wide receiver in this class. And I'm like, okay, like Luther Burden is way better than this guy. What are we doing here? But this guy Kyle Williams is a speed demon.
Right.
So you can not only line him up at slot, you can also put him out wide because he's just going to run right on by your defenders. And that's just going to help Drake May. As long as he gets the time to throw, I know he didn't have a lot of time to throw last year. If he gets the time to throw, it gets these guys to be open. And you can't double anybody because you have Stephon Diggs right there.
Yes.
So if you're in single coverage, it's going to help with a speedy wide receiver like Kyle Williams.
I think the number one person that should be worried about this is a guy like Kayshon Boutte because he was really the only deep threat that we had for Drake May last year. So to pair in a speed demon, as you said, like Kyle Williams, that's going to make the wide receiver competition a lot more fun. And I also think that Demario Douglas, albeit smaller, still has a lot of speed to give. So I'm picturing a Stephon Diggs on your outside, Kyle Williams lined up on the opposite side, Demario Douglas in your slot. I think that's going, and then also having a pass catcher like TreVeyon Henderson. You still have Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper. While it is another wide receiver weapon, I think that this is going to kind of round out all of the offensive weapons that the Patriots will give Drake May, including running backs and including tight ends as well, because you got the height, you got the frame with Hunter Henry, now you got the speed with Kyle Williams, you got the assurance catch from Stephon Diggs, and of course you always got Demario Douglas for a quick slant for 10 yards. So I'll ask you guys this. It's a weird comparison because we never had Ladd McConkey, right? And McConkey's also played in the NFL. But I want you guys to pick one. Seeing what Ladd McConkey did in his first year of the NFL, and now seeing all the hype around Kyle Williams, would you rather still have taken Ladd in 2024? Or are you glad that we waited a year and we got a guy like Kyle Williams? Obviously, the perfect world would be to have both, but we're not going to talk about that. Type LM for McConkey, type KW for Kyle Williams. All right, let me tell you guys about Will Campbell just real quick because I know we're not talking about him here in this video, but I want to make sure you guys are repping him. Look, offensive linemen, they're my favorite positions in football. They're gentle giants. They do nothing but protect the quarterback, and that's what Will Campbell's going to do. He even said it in his post-game interview, I do not let anybody mess with my quarterback, and that's a jersey I want to be repping. If you love Drake May, that means you love Will Campbell, because he's going to be his number one protector. If you want to get his jersey, chatsports.com/Will Campbell, I'll put that link in the comment section down below. No, he will not be wearing number 1. They do this for all rookies until they decide their true number in the NFL. So when Will Campbell declares his number, they will send you the jersey with his real number on it. Chatsports.com/Will Campbell. Here is my final favorite pick of the Patriots 2025 NFL Draft. It's going to be round 5, pick number 146, Braden Swinson. Allie, why are we jumping all the way down to round 5? This dude is a beast. He's an edge, and that was a position that we definitely needed to cover. 6'3", 255 pounds. I had also saw him going early in the thirds. The fact that we got him in round 5 gets me very, very excited. He's got a great knack for getting his hands up in throwing lanes. He's very effective getting after the quarterback this year, and I think that he is going to be a good pair with players like Harold Landry III, Keon White, even learning a little bit here from Robert Spillane as well. Had a little, late-ish of a breakout in terms of his college career. That might be why he fell all the way down to round 5. But you said this, Alper. You need to draft an edge. And I thought it was interesting that they had it all the way down in round 5, but they did pick up Landry in free agency. But now that they have Swinson, who I think doesn't need to be a starter, won't be a starter, but he will develop under 2 phenomenal edge rushers in Keon White and Harold Landry.
I think not only talking about just learning from those 2 guys, especially like Keon White and Harold Landry, you're also learning from Mike Vrabel.
You're right.
Out of all those guys, the guy who knows defense, who knows football, who's a football-minded guy, especially on the defensive line, learning from him is going to help Bradyn Swinson a ton. I also really like the fact that he's been playing SEC-type football. That is the closest that you can get to the NFL. When you see Power 5 SEC football, defensive end, you know you're getting a good defensive end, good edge.
And not even just Vrabel, but Terrence Williams, I think is going to be, as a defensive coordinator, is going to be incredible because he is a defensive line specialist. So having that is going to just even create more opportunities here for a guy like Swinson. And I really like here, Terrell Williams, excuse me. I really like here what he said in his interview is that obviously he played across from Jayden Daniels at LSU, and Jayden Daniels carries a football everywhere because he said, this is the dream, right? This is it. The ball is everything. Football is everything. Now you have Braden Swinson, who carries a football around everywhere he goes, in his car, at the mall, getting gas, doesn't matter. I mean, this kid lives, dies, eats, breathes football. That is a Mike Vrabel guy through and through. You pair him up with Terrell Williams, who specializes in the defensive line. You give him a year or 2, we're looking at another Keon White, and you can't tell me anything different. He's going to be dominant.
100%. I think I honestly, from all of the Patriots draft picks, I know we only talked about 3, but from the free agents and this draft class, kind of at the end of the draft, you're drafting a kicker and a long snapper. Oh, well, whatever. But this team, I feel like they have won the NFL offseason more than anybody.
Oh, 100%. If this Patriots team doesn't have a top 5 defense, then the NFL's rigged. It has to be. That's the only explanation. I have such high expectations this year that if they're not where I need them to be, then it's not me. I'm a good analyst. It means something's wrong in the NFL.
They've brought me so back. This is I've had more confidence in the Patriots in probably since we drafted Mac Jones, and we saw how that turned out.
Anyways, okay. Well, not that Braden Swinson was a sleeper by any means, but I'm asking you guys this question in terms of who is the sleeper of the Patriots draft class? Who is the guy that maybe got drafted a little bit later or possibly didn't go where you thought he would in the Patriots draft class that you think is going to have an impact in year 1? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. I just gave you guys 3 names. They can be the same 3 guys or they can be different. Up to you. All you guys have to do is hit that sub button for me on Patriots Today by Chat Sports.